Our focus is retirement. As they say, timing is everything. It's certainly true when it comes to retirement. In the Caribbean, it seems we only start to think about retirement or what it means to our lives when we are close to that age. In a recent interview with the Insurance Association of Jamaica, President Veron James stated, "Retirement costs are on the rise and life expectancy is seeing positive growth." According to a 2018 article by the World Health Organization, between 2015 and 2050, the world will witness an increase from 12% to 22% in the world's aging population, that is, residents over the age of 60. In Jamaica and the Caribbean, the current life expectancy is about 75 years. That means that after retirement, the average Caribbean citizen will need about 15 years of funding to live comfortably. But do you understand how to plan for retirement? How much money should you have saved to retire? What about health challenges? Can you afford to retire? To shed some light on this very important topic is Patricia Reed Waugh, a retired chartered accountant, author, retirement coach, and a lover of the creative industries with a focus on music and literary arts. Thank you so much for agreeing to speak with us, Ms. Waugh.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's start with when should I plan for retirement? When should I start?
You should start planning for retirement the day you start working, believe it or not.
Wow. And why is it so important to plan for that period of my life?
Because when you get to retirement, you are going to discover, if you don't plan for it, you're going to discover you don't have enough money. You're going to discover that you have gotten there in poor health. You're going to discover a lot of negative things if you don't plan for it. So you start early, you envision yourself. Where do you want to be at age 65, at age 70? How do you want to be living your life? And when you envision yourself at that point, then you actually start planning for it. For instance, a lot of people will want to say, okay, when I retire, I want to travel the world. Well, in order to travel the world, number one, you have to have enough funds, and number two, you have to be in good health, in reasonably good health. So if you live an unhealthy lifestyle, then when you get to retirement, you won't be traveling anywhere. The place you will be traveling is to the hospital, to the doctor.
That's true, that's true. Even though I know that, and even though you, from time to time, you will hear that conversation, some people still fear planning for retirement. Even though they work hard, they complain most of their lives that they're tired, and they still think that it's a fearful prospect. Why is that so?
It's a fearful prospect, I think, for some people because of what they see. Maybe they see persons, first of all, you see a lot of people who are miserable. Okay? And that is because they have not actually planned what they're going to do with their lives at that point. So they get into this stage and they have stopped working, and then something is missing. They're not engaged in anything that is, helping them to enjoy life. So these are some of the images that people see.
There's a quote saying, retirement is a journey, not a destination. Your opinion on this quote?
My opinion is that it is both the journey and the destination. So that is how, I have crafted it. Because the destination is where you're going to end up, and you're going to end up in retirement. But you have to plan for it, and you have to take the journey towards it. And therefore, that journey towards it is just as important as where you expect to be. So it's both the journey and the destination.
All right, quick answer to this now. Some persons will say their children are their retirement plan. Your opinion?
Well, if you're like me, with no children, no husband, just an ex-husband, and you say living by yourself without those persons, then you better understand that you might not have that as your retirement plan. And even if you have children, they will be living their own lives. They will have their own families to take care of. They will have their children to send to school. You can't expect them to fund you. You have to be responsible to plan your life and plan what you're going to do and how you're going to engage and get yourself ready for that 15 or 20 years.
Very well said. Stay with us. PBCJ Presents. We'll be right back.
What a way you're full of our roots and culture. That was in Jamaica 60. Jamaica 60? What a piece of news, Miss Matty. I feel like my heart going bust up.
Just in, the island of Jamaica is on the verge of celebrating its 60th year of independence.
I will him well for celebrating it. They say the people them come here, But you see, when our people decide, say the other people them free paper, burn up, them say if it's war, start it, whatever. We all collect medal, panta for it, medal. Amount of tongue we give them,
The celebrations are slated to begin on January 1st, 2022. Organized by the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. We have more in this report.
I am on site and planning activities are ablaze. Persons are advised to download the Reggae Jamaica app to know what it pre. Activities for the Jamaica 60 celebration.
If I don't know the app to get the updates then.
Join BBC Jamaica for A Different Life, a window into the world of persons with disabilities. Sundays at 10 a.m. with a repeat on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. That's A Different Life, right here on PBC Jamaica, the People's Station.
Welcome back to PBCJ Presents. We're talking about retirement with Patricia Reed-Waugh. Thank you so much for coming on this show. I'm learning a lot. Now let's talk about retirement and health. How does one plan for psychological health when we're planning for retirement?
Well, in terms of the psychological aspect of it, you really have to get a network going. You'll be surprised to know how much you're going to need people at this stage of your life. For instance, in 2017, I had a mild stroke, and I had to get a neighbor to take me to the hospital when I realized that something was happening to me. Now, if I did not have that network and wasn't on good terms with my neighbor, because remember, I'm living alone, nobody in the house to turn to. So it's very important that you have to build out a network of people who are there for you. And also, you don't want to be in isolation. You have to have people that you're engaging with. Another thing is for you to be involved in some sort of a group, some grouping. If you're a church person, join one of the organizations of the group, where you're engaging with people and you're doing things, and you have groups like the CCRP organizations, like the Caribbean Community of Retired Persons, and they organize, we actually organize events. Of course, the pandemic is going on now, so that is sort of not on the cards now, but we will soon get back to that. Where we go on trips, we have nights of dancing, and have all these events. So you're engaging with people, you can actually yourself be a part of the performances. We have been having virtual concerts, so we have our members who have been preparing different items and singing and dancing and doing poetry, writing poetry, and all. So there are a number of things that you can do to build out your engagement. So it's the social connections that you need to work on so that you are not in isolation. And you can be exercising your mind, because there's also the onset of things like dementia, which you have to stave off. So you have to be exercising your mind, exercising your physical self, and just staying in touch.
That's true, especially for persons who have high intensity, high stress jobs. For those persons though, let's take a step back. When should they retire? Should you think about retiring at an earlier age than the norm when you have a high stress, high intensity job? And what do you look forward to? It's a good thing that you said that you have to keep your mind active. But for those persons, for example, you were a chartered accountant, but you retired early. Well, earlier than was expected.
Well, in my case, it was illness that forced that on, because I was working in a situation. I was working actually in the Eastern Caribbean, and I had a serious bout of illness, and I recognized that I had to be flown out every time something was wrong. I had to fly out. And I started to get scared and worried about my health. So I wanted to be closer to all of the diagnostic facilities that are here in Jamaica. And I decided that, it was time. I was also going to a lot of conferences and not eating properly. Sometimes the sessions are long. You go and they feed you with all of these unhealthy things, a whole lot of sweets and snacks and so on. So I realized that all of that was not good for my health at the time because of the challenges. And therefore, I had to take a step back. What people have to do is you have to look at your personal situation and see, because some people function in the high stress pretty easily. But when your health starts to be affected, then you need to take a step back, and you need to take a step back quickly before you drop down on the job.
But otherwise they'll just replace you. A lot of persons tend to think that, they need me here, I'm needed. But when you fall down and you're not able to get back up and get back at it, they'll just replace you.
They'll just replace you. And those people who their career becomes their identity, I want people to understand that you cannot make your career your identity, because when you are without that career, who are you? So even in your high stress job and with your onerous responsibilities, you need to take time out to be doing some other things, to be engaging in hobbies, and find a passion, something outside of the job, and engage with that, so that you're not just the work, you're not just the managing director, and then when you're not the managing director anymore, you're nobody. I usually give this example. I give this sometimes when I say that when you retire, to be the be all and end all of who you are. When those things moved away,
then you're in a problem.
then you're in a problem.
We're going to go to a quick break, but when we get back, we're going to talk about your book and some of the tips that you have given us on how we can plan for our retirement and activities after retirement. Stay with us. PBCJ presents the Retirement Edition. We'll be right back.
Jamaica Eye is part of an island-wide network of camera surveillance systems designed to increase the safety of you, our citizens. If you have a camera system outside your home or office facing a public space, join us in helping to make Jamaica a safer place for all. Log on to jamaicai.gov.jm today. Jamaica Eye, we're all connected. The Ministry of National Security, creating a safer and prosperous Jamaica.
Welcome back. You're watching PBCJ Presents and we're talking about retirement. First off, tell me the 3 main things you should think about when you're planning your retirement.
Well, first of all, you have to think about the money aspect, okay? So you really need to be contributing to some sort of a pension plan. If you're an employed person and your employer has a employer-sponsored pension plan, then you should try to contribute the maximum amount that you can afford. Don't just go for the minimum 5%. You need to up that, bump that. For instance, when you purchase your house and you are comfortable with those mortgage payments, then you can bump that up, your contribution, because the more you put into the fund, then the more you're gonna have there. Okay, so that is an important aspect. And let me just warn the people who are self-employed and the people who are working on contract. You have to ensure that you get on some sort of retirement plan, because it's not mandatory, because you're not an employed person, but you have to make sure that you start your preparation. Don't be like me. Your end of contract bonus. I was working on contract for a substantial period of the latter years of my working life, and even when I was on an employer scheme, because I left before the vesting period, I got the pension refunds. And all those pension refunds, all those end of contract bonus, I took them and I was all over the world, right? You know, every big event, big ticket event, I was there. I was on the Federer's nose watching him at the US Open, watching Federer and Serena, you know, playing and buying premium tickets because I wanted to be close to the action to see my hero. But that's not good. I could have still gone and still enjoyed it by purchasing tickets that were not the premium tickets. So these are the sensible decisions that you have to make. You can still enjoy yourself, but you have to ensure that you put aside some funds.
What about health insurance as
the
well?
Health insurance aspect of it now, that again, because as you age, the body starts breaking down. Make no bones about it. So you have to maintain a health insurance plan. I unfortunately did not maintain a health insurance plan when I went to came off my employer's own, and then by the time I had all these surgeries and all these comorbidities, and I came back to Jamaica in 2011, nobody would touch me. No insurer would touch me because I had too many pre-existing conditions. So, and that for the first few years until 2019, between 2011 and 2019, all my health costs had to come out of pocket.
Wow.
And I just saw the savings just dwindling. Fortunately, the CCRP established that policy, health policy, in 2019, And they had a 3-month open enrollment period where nobody asked you any questions about what was wrong with you and what organs are gone. So at that point, I just jumped into that policy. And that has been my lifeline, really, in terms of health insurance.
Okay, so we have saving, we have pension savings, we have health insurance. One more main thing.
One more main thing is use your experience. Use all the years of experience and do something with it. What do I mean? Write a book. Like I have done. Well, I'm on my 2nd book. Because you have a lot of, you have developed a lot of skills, and you have developed a lot of competencies, and you have had a lot of experience. And so tell your story. Do something literary. You'll be surprised to know that when you do something literary, right, you are learning so much about yourself. I have learned so much about myself through the 2 books, by writing the 2 books. You can write short stories. During your time, you would have come across a lot of humorous incidents. Start writing down all of those humorous incidents there, and get them into short stories.
And like that, we brought up your book. So your book, Retirement, The Journey and Destination, a planning guide. It has all these tips and more. You established that you decided to write that as a part of your journey in retirement. What other things can we do when we're retired? How do we keep our minds active? You mentioned that we have to keep thinking, we have to keep going, but we can join the CCRP. What else can we do?
You can still work. Okay? It's called downshifting.
Wow.
Yes. Just do a little consultancy in something. For instance, I was a chartered accountant. People still ask me to do things. I don't take on anything that is onerous. I take on small tasks. I have friends who need to file their tax returns. I help them organize themselves and to get their tax returns in, because I have friends who are self-employed themselves, and they have to, do that. So you can basically just downshift, but you're still what about the hobbies and the passions that you have? You can still build on them and even earn income from those hobbies and those passions.
Yes, retirement is not a death sentence.
It is not.
Life goes on.
It is not the end of the road. It is not the departure lounge. It is when you are ready to put on all these new tires on your life and hit the road again.
I like that you said that, because in your book, you learned how to swim at what age?
At 71 years.
71 years, you decided to learn how to swim. Quickly tell us that little anecdote.
Okay, well, at 8 years old, I almost drowned. My brother, we were at Bournemouth, Bath, and he had his hand under me. And I thought I was secure, and I was flashing and so on. And all of a sudden, I realized that I wasn't hearing his voice egging me on, and I realized I was alone. And I panicked, and I almost drowned. And since that time, I have just been scared. I have gone to the beach and not even gone in the water, just there. So I decided that, you know something, I am not going to make my 72nd birthday come and I don't learn to swim. And the June, my birthday is in July, and the June I went down to the National Stadium and went to Swim Jamaica, and I said, you have to get me swimming in a month. And it was just an awesome experience. And 2 days before my birthday, I was able to post a video of me swimming. No, I didn't look elegant, I can tell you. I was not an Alia Atkinson, but I certainly got from this point to that point down there, and I was proud of myself. Another thing I've done is I've learned to play the steel pan. So I'm now on a steel band. I'm a member of the Church of the Transfiguration.
Wow.
Steel orchestra.
Okay.
And it's called an orchestra, right? Not just a band.
All right.
So these are the things I learned to play the violin. And I did the grade 1 violin exam and got a merit. I did the grade 2 violin exam.
So you can learn skills after retirement. You can add to your papers.
And that is what you need to do. There are so many things. Think of every single passion. Think of every single thing you have wanted to do. Mm-hmm. You wanted to do earlier in life that you have not done yet, and go for it.
All right. So we should plan for our retirement the minute we start working. We should look at saving for our retirement. That's separate from your life insurance. Save separately. Ensure that you get a pension even if you're not permanently employed. And you should get your skills up to date. And even so, after retirement, you can do it. You can keep active, ensure that your brain remains active. Get your support system in place. I'm running off the list that I've learned because I've learned so much. Remember to also check out her book for more tips and ideas as you plan your retirement. I leave you with this quote. She states, "A legacy is not all about death. When we talk about legacy, we are contemplating how lessons from the past influence our lives in the present and enable us to build for the future. It is like running in a relay race of humanity in which our ancestors passed resources and knowledge to us instead of a baton. We have benefited from the progress of the past and are trying to make a contribution to pass on to future runners. Legacy building gives significance to your life, who you are, and what you have done. It is a process of assessing past and present experiences and planning for what you still want to accomplish and how you want people to remember you. It is a worthwhile process to embark on, regardless of age." You have been watching a PBCJ Presents. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Thank you so much for joining us.
Watch the Budget Debates